So in the last session, we have discussed about clipboard and what's the purpose of clipboard and how we use the clipboard and all this stuff. So and then also we have seen a brief about data transform, like how that how can we use a data transform. For example, yesterday we have created this data transform, which is basically used to set the values, right? It could be any values, like let's say I want to set first name, last name, phone number, email address, and all the stuff. And in the data transform, we have four columns. Like one is action column, target column, relation, and the source column. So where in which the Pega has given us these four actions. So depending upon your requirement, we choose any one of those the action. So we'll see it once, like so what we'll do is, like we'll see one by one, like I mean other actions. And also, like tomorrow also we'll discuss on the same data transform one, and we'll try to wrap up all the actions basically. So now okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so now the next action that we have is set. Set is a basic one, like whenever you want to set any property, like like the street name, date of birth, and all these things, you can just easily set it. Either you can hard code it, or you can set it from the page. So yesterday I've shown you, right, in the clipboard we have a page which is called as operator ID page, wherein which the Pega stores all our information. So that is it. Because of this, now if you're creating any loan application case, so all that fields like first name, last name, and the phone number, email ID, and date of birth, which we are populating with the today's date, it is getting populated. So and this data transform, we are referring it in this flow action pre-processing. So what happens is, whenever this flow action runs, before loading this section, the Pega checks, okay, do I have to perform any action? So if it's blank, then the Pega will not perform anything. It will load the blank section. Otherwise, if you want to, let's say before the screen loads, if you want to pre-populate some values to the screen, then we have this data transform, which will run it, and then it will set these values over here like that. Okay, so now we'll see other actions too. So now in the similar way, okay, update page. So we'll come to this remove no, later. So now this update page. Okay, so now what we have in our case is this. Okay, this is the section. Okay, so now, for example, I have let's say let me just create one more property as so already there is a temporary properties there. Sorry, temporary address is there. So let me create one more property as a permanent address. I'll save as this, and I'll rename it to permanent address. That's it. So now I have two properties. One is that a temporary address, and another one is a permanent address. So here we go. And then I'll use this in this section itself. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it below. And here I'll give the label as permanent address. Okay, and then this property also, this is not a temporary address, this is a permanent address. So this is street name. So now, let's say now that is, let's say I'm applying for a loan. So what will happen, like let's say I'm asking user to enter both temporary address and the permanent address. So now let's say I enter my house number and everything, city, state, landmark, and the pin code. So now, but and sometimes it happens, right? I mean, most of the customers temporary and permanent address will remain the same. So if it, in this case, if it's same, then so what will happen, of course, so I have to enter the same address again, right? And which is not a good experience, right, that we can give to the user. So instead, what we can have is like, we can have a checkbox here. And then in this checkbox, if the user says like, yes, my permanent address and temporary address, sorry, yeah, temporary and permanent both are same, then as soon as the user clicks on the checkbox, then automatically this address, whatever that user has typed in the permanent address, sorry, temporary address, should get copied over here. You should get, copied in this link. So that, we should happen. So for that, what we'll do is like, we'll go to a section, and then in between these two permanent and address, I'll add one uh, layout, and here I'll just give the action as a checkbox, and then I'll just give the property name as is address same. Okay, okay. So now we're asking user to do it. So now, we are asking, user to like, to do that. So now again here, so now how the screen will look like is, so now there is a checkbox here. So now let's say like, house number and everything, whatever that I entered. So now according to our requirements, and our checkbox is done. So now according to our requirements, so whenever the user will select, yes, my temporary address is same as a permanent address. So as soon as I check this box, so this data should get copied over here. So you can see here, I mean, now it's not happening anything, right? Because Pega doesn't know what I have to do. I mean, we're not asking Pega, to perform some action, when the user, this checkbox has been checked. So in that case, like, what can we do is like, again, if we go to our section, and then in this checkbox, so if you go to the action tab, here, so you can see that for any property, like, if you want that, okay, on change of that, if you want to perform some action and all that stuff, so that you can do it in here. So for any property, if you open, you can see one action tab, and this action tab is for that. Already we have used this, right, for the refreshing the section. So one of that thing, like, which we can do is we can just go to the action tab, and we can just say that whenever that user change any value, for example, a user can check this one or uncheck that one, so that value will change, right? So whenever the user change or that value, then we can just um, refresh this section. And also with not only that, I have to refresh the section, but also I have to call the data transform. So this data transform, I'll say it as a copy address. So I'll just create a new one. So here, what I'll do is I'll use this one. So update page. Update page means like, what page that I have to update. So here, let's say I have to update I have to set what? I have to set the temp permanent page. And yesterday I've told you, right? This column basically will changes based on the action, whatever we select. So you can see here now that relation column has changed. So with the value from, okay, that value will come from this temporary address. So basically we're copying this page to this page. And then as you can see that the Pega has added one child step here, then we can just set all that property. Let's say city is equals to city, and then I want to set house number. So house number is set to house number, and then landmark, we'll set it with landmark, and then here we have pin code. So pin code will set it as pin code, then state. State. So in the similar way, we'll have the street name as well. That's it. So then now I'll save the section. That's it. I've saved it. Now what will happen is, now if I'll refresh this, and now again if I'll again go back to the screen, and now I'll enter some data here. So now now if let's say my address is same, so now user will check this. So you can see that, automatically, like, that address got copied, from that temporary address to permanent address. So this way, like, you can use this update page. Update page means, like, whenever that single page, like, you have to copy the data from one page to another page. So in that case, basically, you can do that. So this name itself suggests, right, update page, like, updating a page or setting a page like that. So this way, you can do that. So, uh, so, so, you know, uh, just, so, yeah, so now, oh, okay. So then we have like okay, another one which is called as a applied data transform. Applied data transform means, let's say I have to call another data transform, simpler one, like, let's say I have to call another data transform. So I'll just use this, applied data transform. So what will happen is, let's say, like, after updating this page, the second step will be this. So Pega will call another data transform. So that is the way you can do that. And then the sorting. So sorting means, for example, let's say, like, we have a page list, right? So now, for example, here in the again is in the second screen, we have one page list, right? So this is a page list. So now, oh, sorry, I have changed this when rule. So now let's say this is a page list, right? So now let's say I want to sort this page list. I mean, I want to sort the page list with this amount. For example, like, I have to show this page list in the next screen with a sorted order. For example, I got some list, from some external source and all this stuff. Then, I want to sort that list in the sorted order. So that one we can do that with the help of this, loan, like a loan amount. So that how to do that. So now we just go to that our data transform, and then we'll just go to a sort. And you can see here we can do the sorting of a page list, let's say loan details, and then which page that you, or sorry, which field that you want to do a sorting. So if we go to the gear icon, and inside the gear icon, we can just, do that. So here it is. Let's say I want to do it based on the amount. So we can do it either ascending order or descending order. So let's say if we do ascending order, so in the ascending order, like, based on the amount details, the Pega will display you the details. Or for example, let's say, or I want to do it with the name. I mean, or let's say I have the list of employees. So the list of employees, I want to do it alphabetical order. For example, like, whose name is start with A, let's say Amit, Ajay, something like that. So their name will display on the top, and then the name which, like, starts with B, C, or other alphabets, like, it will display it like that. So that all things, like, we can do that. So all that we need to do is we have to just specify the page list name, and then in the gear icon you have to just specify, like, based on which property that you want to sort this list, and like either with the name, salary, age, or anything that, you can just give it. Or else, like, you can have multiple sorting order conditions too. So depending upon that, it will basically give you the data like that. And then we have comment again, like, as a best practice. It's something like, we normally we give it. For example, let's say, like, like, for example, uh okay, for example, I have written this complex logic, I have not written, I mean, something. So now what we'll do is, we can uh, we can just write a comment saying that, okay, in the, and this comment means the Pega will not basically, evaluate it and all those things. So you can type in it. So this is just for commenting it. Commenting means, like, the steps, like, we can say that, below step, will copy uh, address from temporary M2 permanent. That's it. So now, so now what will happen is like, I can get to know that, okay, so like, okay, the other developer is basically trying to implement something like, what he's trying to implement in the second step. I can get to know with the help of this comment. So that is it. Like, you can do anything. You can even make a spelling mistake also. If you save it, the Pega will not even throw any error. So that is something the Pega will not basically like, like evaluate it, like, how, for example, other in these steps, like, if I'll make some property name wrong, then Pega will immediately throw an error saying that, this property does not exist. But in the similar way, here in this comment, whatever that you type it, it's just for your information, like, what exactly that you're trying to do, or for your information, or let's say your lead, like, wants to review your code. So just to indicate that to the lead, basically what that, you're trying to do and all the stuff. And then after basically 6 to 4 months, you only will like, I mean, for your reference only, because it's hard to remember, because in development, like, we develop many rules. So we will be able to remember it for 2 to 3 days, but after like 6 months we only will forget, like, what, for what reason we have created it. So this comment basically will help us to remember that exact purpose, that why we are doing it, and what exactly that we are doing it, this particular step, instead of, we man and like, again going to the code exactly and all these things. So this comments will help you to analyze it faster, basically, give you the idea beforehand. So that is that comment action, that, you do that. Okay, and then this when. So we'll see it now. So now in this case, now you can see that, okay, if I'll go back to the previous screen. So now what will happen is, let's say, so this house number and this house number and permanent address, it's got copied, all right. But let's say, like, I by mistake I have checked this box, like, I mean, I have realized, no, I mean, the permanent address, I should give my village address or something like that, so I don't want, I don't want the same address to be copied. So now if I uncheck this, you can see that my permanent address is still like, I mean, that whatever that copied address is still like, it's as is. Like, I mean, it's not removing it, right? So now what will happen is, like, the user has to manually remove everything, right? So everything he has to remove it, and then again he has to type it again. Not a something good experience, right? So we only should do it like, let's say we have to say that, okay, if it's checked, then it's the same. Otherwise, like, if it's unchecked, then automatically this value should be wiped out, like, it should get removed, clear. This value should be like, I mean, this value, there should not be anything on this fields, because we are saying that, okay, so it's not the same, my address is not same, so user might be entering some different address. So instead of allowing user to update these or deleting this one, we can ask user, I mean, or we can ask, we can have, like, in the backend code itself, should perform that action. So for that, we'll be using that. So now what we'll do is, so we can see that on check of this. So we just will see, like, what will be the value the pay guy setting in the backend for this property, checkbox property. So we'll go to the clipboard. So in the clipboard, yeah, so I have told you restricted, right? And that work object information in the clipboard, you can see it in the POI work page. So what is the property name is address. So is address same. So this is the property and the value is true. So we'll just hide it, like, so now we will be doing it with this only. So the data transform is this. So now we'll add a condition. So what we'll do is I'll add one when add insert add sibling above. Okay, and then I'll just check when, like, then condition, and here you can create a when rule also, like, already we have discussed, right, when rule as part of a decision topic. So you can create a when rule. For example, if it's a complex condition that you want to write and or logic and all these things, then in that case you can create a when rule. Otherwise, let's say if a simple one, like in our case, like, is address name is equals to true. So if it's true, then I want to update this. I'll just cut this and I'll paste it here. So all that I'm doing is right click and, unlike that. So the paste. Okay, that's it. So now you can see here what action that I'm doing is, when like, when the address is same, then only I'm copying it, that update page, then only I'm, doing all these things. Otherwise, unlike that. So now you can see here like that, and then I'll save it. And then other action that you can we have it like when and then otherwise when and otherwise. Like so in this case, like we can say that okay, otherwise means when means like for example, let's say when means like let's say age is greater than let's say let's say for example marks, like when the marks is like to 1 to 36 percentage, let's say 1 to 36 it's or 35 it's fail. And then from otherwise when it's percentage is from 36 to 59, then it's a second class or no a pass, but in the second class it's a pass. And then from 60 to 90 it's like a first class, and then 90 to 100 it's excellent or something like that. So otherwise when and all these things we can just have it like that. So but in this our case we are just have two condition. Either we can have true or otherwise we can have false. So it's unnecessary to say to the Pega that to check this condition again. So we can just say that otherwise, and otherwise we can just set that. So if it's false, I mean that means otherwise, then we can just remove this page. We can say that I don't want this page. Like that means like either we can perform this, either we can do or remove page, or else like or remove this page. So remove basically like it will remove the page or property value from the clipboard. So again, or else we can do other again update page, and update page you can do this one. Okay, and then sorry, update page is already here. And then it's something that you can do is it's a city and all this thing. City you can just set it to black. And then in the similar way, you can do other things too. So either way, it's fine. So let's try it out with the remove first, and then we'll see. So I'll just change this to remove. Okay, and I'll save it. And now let's see how it's working. So here it is. Okay, and then okay, and then I'll uncheck this. You can see that like I mean automatically that page is getting, I mean that values are getting deleted. And now if I'll check this, so here it is like automatically that value will populate. And again, I uncheck this, check this, like uncheck this, check this. Anyways, it's I mean it's fine. So this is a good experience that we can give. Like for example, let's say by mistake I realize okay, like I should have given my let me give my permanent address a different address. So again, if I uncheck this, automatically we can wipe up all the values that user has entered. So then we can enter it, manually, like like that. So instead of user to ask, to remove the field and then enter it, your new address, something like that. So we can do that. And then later I realize, oh no, I mean this address, whatever that I've entered, like it's wrong, like or I let it be like let it my temporary address should be this. Then again I check this, so automatically the values that I've entered got replaced with the address, like values what I have entered in the temporary address, like that. So that is how like we can just play out with this our when conditions, like when. So if you want to set conditions only when some condition is met. For example, I want to set the some values department wise. For example, I can just check that okay, when department is equals to IT, then I want to set some particular values. If department is equals to HR, then I want to set some particular values, like that. So in that case, these conditions will be helpful to will be helpful to do that. Comment, and then that comment is different. I mean, this one is comment means Pega will execute this step, but that double slash means the Pega will not, Pega will ignore it. So that one, if you want to do that, so something like, if you want like, so if you just disable this step, like, if you do a right click and if you disable it, that means the Pega will not execute, this step, like that. So it's like that. So, and this comment is just for our information. The Pega will just see it and then ignore it. That's it. Like Pega will not, do that. Yeah, okay. Because if you want that, okay, you mean to say that like let's say I have checked that, then this should not, this should be basically like editable. This should be read only. So
Yeah.
that the data transform does not have to do anything. That one, like we have to do it in the section rule itself. So in the section rule, what we have to do is we can just go here, and in the presentation tab, we can say that read only condition. So if in the read only, when it should be read only, like we can just place the same condition here. So if this address is same, so where is that section? Yeah, there it is. So when it's same, then we can just have that. So like that. So again, let's say the same condition, I'll place it for the street number two, street name two. So here, this. So right now, let's say I've just placed it for these two. So now what will happen is if I'll refresh in this case. So now, you can see here now let's say now I've entered, let's say that temporary address. Now let's say if I'll check this one, so you can see that it got copied, and as well as it is read only basically. So same condition, we can just place it for these four properties too. Then automatically it will behave in the same way. But later I realized, no, my address is not same. Then again I'll uncheck this box, and then again it's not only it's editable, but also that value or that what we it got copied also got removed. So in this way, to make it read only editable, so in data transform we can't do that. So this is that we have to do it in a section rule, depending like that here in the presentation tab. So basically, that is like, so for example, sometimes what happens is we have to set in real time, basically, what we do is we set many properties, for example, let's say we are setting person details, then or some department details, address details, we are all these things. So if we do everything in one data transform, so what happens is our step gets increased to 20 steps, let's say now it's 3 steps, right? So normally that will get exceed to 20. Like for example, real-time bank application, will have lot of forms, lot of fields that we set and everything, right? So somewhere around 100 fields we set related to address, related to occupation, related to, and all this stuff. So like in that case, basically we just try, we just see that our data transform should not exceed to 20 steps. As a best practice, what we do is we just make sure that our data transform should be within the 20 steps. So in that case, what we do is we just create separate data transform. Like let's say one data transform we created for copying the address, another data transform we created for the setting the department details, other data transform, and all this data transform will call it in the one wrapper. One main data transform will just create, and then other in that main data transform will start calling it. Let's say for example, one data transform will call it, which will copy address here, and then other data transform will call it for which will call, let's say, set personal details, like that, and then like that. So what will happen is, in this case, our maintenance will also be simple. For example, let's say and then let's say set occupation details. So now in future, let's say requirement changes, and now requirement is say that we don't want to set this occupation details, we don't need it anymore. So simply what we can do is we can just easily remove this step. That's it. Our our entire occupation will not get set next time onwards. Otherwise, what we have to do is, let's say occupation means what is my job, or what is my salary, and then what is my designation, and all these things. So everything have to remove like this. So everything, not only it will increase the steps, but also let's say that because the business will say that no, we no longer need this occupation details, so we have to manually delete it all these steps. So in that case, so if your a data transform is exceeding to 20 steps and all those things, or more steps that you have it, so better you can have a separate data transform in that case, and you can call it from this data transform only, with the help of this apply data transform. Refresh this one. Okay, so now this is what so okay, so now we have the set, remove, update page. Okay, sort till now we haven't seen it practically, so now we'll see it now. So as part of sort, what we'll do is for example, now if I'll go to the next screen, so let's say whatever that user enters here, so in the approval screen also, let's show this grid, and in the sorted order. For example, the user will not enter anything in the sorted order, right? And the loan amount and all these things. But let's but if we have to show this detail to the loan representative, we display it in the sorted order. So in that case, what we will do is we'll open this section, approve, reject one, and then here we'll have that existing loan. I'll copy this, and paste it below here. So like basically you can copy and paste also the layouts instead of again dragging entire thing and all these things. And then if you want, then in the screen you can just show it as a read only, like because I want to display these details in the read only mode. Okay, so now uh, like okay, so I'll just okay. So now what I have to do is I'll just create one more data transform. Okay, so create data transform, and then I'll just give the name as sort loan details. So once this is done, so now in this case, like I'll be using this sort actions and the sort action, and then I have to where's the property loan details. Oh, sorry, it's not in account opening. We have to do it in loan details. Sorry, I created the data transform inside this loan details. Okay, loan process. Okay, sort loan details. Yes, I'm mad at I'm creating a property. Oh, the model data transform. Okay, so now which property that I have to sort is this, and then here this is a loan details, and then I'll based on let's say loan amount, a loan amount I want to do it ascending or descending, let's say. So, and then this one, okay, so now this data transform also we have to call it, right? So now, oh, and this details that we are entering in this second one, right? In this one. So now what we can do is, and this section, we are calling it from a flow action, right? This flow action that we're calling it. So now, now we know that we have what this pre-processing does, right? So then in flow action, we have one more action which is called as a post-processing. Pre-processing and post-processing means again, it's a very important concept like flow actions one. So like pre-processing means before this section loads, if you want to perform some action, if you want to, let's say for example, you want to pre-populate some fields or you want to call some integration and you want to get some data from external system and loads and everything, whatever that you want to do it, you can do it over here. But let's say if I'll click on the submit button and I've entered all the details, whatever that we are showing in the section, and clicked on the submit button, after that I have to perform something that is called as a post processing. Is first once we click on the submit, the Pega first call this validation tab, and it will just check, okay, do I need to validate anything? And now it's in this case it's blank, then the Pega will not validate anything. So if everything looks good, then the Pega will call, if the post processing, if we specify any data transform. If not, then the Pega will not perform anything. If yes, the Pega will perform that. So now in our case, we have to perform this. So as soon as the user enters the loan details and once submit, then after that, we'll call this data transform, and this data transform basically will sort the list. In the based on the amount. So I'll save it. So now let's run it our case. So everything here. So I'll submit this, and then loan type education something, and then let's say I'll enter some quickly some one personal loan 3, and then home loan 2, and then education loan again 5, again personal loan 4. So I'm just I'm just not intentionally I'm typing it. So here 9, and final one I'll just set it as let's say 7. So now let's see, like, now, and as per our code, I mean, when the loan representative will view this screen, so it has to, like, I mean, all these details, whatever that we entered, like, it should be displayed in the sorted order. Well, now, just randomly, I'm just entering something. So now if we'll just click create, that's it. And then once the manager is or loan representative has to say this, you can see that loan, like, it is getting sorted. Like, we have sent a descending order. So that one, that's the reason the topmost loan that we have taken it's displaying on the top. So now it's a 9, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like that. So this is how basically, you can use the sort action. I mean, yeah, the sort one, to just to sort the page list one. Because sometimes what happens is, like, because yeah, in this case, or else sometimes, we get some data, let's say employee data from the external system. So in that case, we we have, and user wants to see some data on the sorted order. So in that case, like, the sort action will be helpful to do that. So so sorry. So now the reason why I know I have placed it, so now I just delete all these things, and then I'll keep only that rule which is basically needed. Okay, so now if I'll open this loan details class, so now you can see here this loan details class. So or what is the page definition is BOA dash data dash loan details. So now once if you try, like, for example, now if I'll don't give anything here, like, let's say page. So now if I'll try to set any property, and you can see here I didn't put the I didn't place the POI work page for this loan amount. And the reason why I didn't put it, because this loan amount, if you see here, it is under this class only, right? I mean, under this POA dash data dash loan details class only. And that is the reason the Pega has able to refer it. But if you see here, like, but in this append to, we have to set this review loan details. But in this review loan details property is not created under this work. I mean, because it basically is created under the work class, not under this data class. So that is the reason the whenever you do this POI for like, for each page in, if you refer any page list and page group, then if you want to set some other property, like, so in that case you have to tell to the Pega, no boss, like, this, like, I mean, I want to set this page list. Now if I directly try to set this one, the Pega will throw me an error saying that, I'm unable to find this one. So Pega, because the Pega is trying to find this property under this data class and all this stuff, and inside this data class and all the inheritance path and all those things. But where we have created this property, we have created this property under the work class right here. So that is the reason, I mean, we have to tell to the Pega, like, this property we have created under this class, and that is what, how will, and this I'm just creating some temp page here. I mean, you can create your work page or top temp, whatever that you can create it, and then you have to just refer it from here to here, like that. So now the Pega knows, okay, this page is of which class, this class. Then after that, the Pega will try to find this property under this class, not under, like, this class, basically under, like, that data class, which we are given it. All the records will get copied, because, like, for example, what will happen is, let's say if you do here a loan amount is equals to home loan, it will satisfy the requirement. And now if we'll say for each page in, and then if I'll do like this, okay, and now, okay, I'll save it. Then what will happen is, logically also, if you can think that, so append to means, like, the Pega will not stop unless and until, like, the Pega is copying each and every list here, right? Like that. Again, the Pega will go here. I mean, hope you're getting my point, right? So each page in means it will not copy only the current page. It will copy entire all the pages basically inside this. Why? Because I'm saying that, as soon as this condition is met, I want to copy all the pages from this loan amount to this one, basically. Right. So now if you want to, if you want to see it, then, like, we can see it now. So now let's say I'm entering okay, some records. And it's good that, you're asking questions, because, like, initially these things basically confuse everyone. So don't get scared that, it's something and all that stuff. So this things, and uh, basically it takes time basically to understand. So, and it's good that you know, and that you're getting questions means like, you're basically, you're 99% basically got the thing. So now, what should happen? Like, okay. So now, as per our requirement, how many records should be displayed? I mean, copied? Two, all right? So now let's say I'll create it, but you can see that, I mean, this, yes, exactly. So entire list is copying, and why you can see that, like, I mean, one, two, home loan, it got copied twice, basically. And why it got copied twice? I mean, this list, because whenever it is, because two times this condition has met, two times, like, when we, because we have entered two home loan, right? So two times the condition has met, and two times it has copied the entire page list here. Okay, so that, like that. So basically, it has disturbed our entire list also, like that. So that is the reason. I mean, I have placed that. Okay, I don't want to copy the entire page list, or page basically. I want to copy only the current page which is now in the loop, basically. So for that, if it's a current one, then there is one index which is called as a current index that you can give. Yeah, like that. So now this will copy only that current page. Basically, if it's, let's say, looping the third page, then it will copy only the third page. Now, if it's looping the fourth page, it will copy only the fourth page. And if the fifth page, it didn't satisfy the condition, so of course the fifth page with the Pega will skip it, and it will not copy it, not the entire list. Is it clear? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Or any other questions before we go ahead from anyone? Okay, so he doesn't know. Okay, so basically these are like append to, append and map to, and for each page. And basically these three actions basically takes time, to understand. And of course, and the most, I mean, important one. Important means like, basically if some complex requirements comes, and you might have to use any three of them. I mean, the other ones are simple one, like set means it will set the properties, and remove means remove it, and update page and all this thing, sorting, voting, and all this stuff. So now exit for each. Exit for each means like, it's very much similar to what that, we have. For example, let's say like, I don't want, like, for example, home loan. If it's a home loan, then, I want to copy it. Otherwise, I just want to, like, exit for each. Like, I want to go ahead to the next one, basically, like that, So that one, basically, you can see that, exit for each, like, so exit for each means like, for example, okay, I'll remove it, and now, I'll show you practically, and then I'll tell you. So so here I'll enter, let's say, home loan, and then the personal loan, and then again home loan. Okay, so now I've entered two home loans, right? So now, let's say if I'll submit this and open this, so you can see here only one got copied here. All right. So this one, and this one, basically, like, you will come, this will come into the picture when, for example, let's say you want only the employee details, like any one of the employee details, like, who belongs to ID department. I don't want to, like, I don't want any other condition, or I don't want any employee details, and like that. So let's say, for example, the first record itself is the IT department employee, then just copy the details of that, and then skip the other 99. Like, for example, it is very helpful, like, for a performance too. For example, let's say, like, for example, let's say other 100, I don't want to copy it, like, I don't want to loop it, basically. So it will not loop other three properties, or three pages, basically. So it will just exit the loop, basically, like whatever that loop that we have inserted, right? So some loop that you want to exit it, and then it will exit it, and it will move it to the next step, basically. So that is something like, I mean, something that you want to, if you want to come out of that loop, like the simple terms basically. So in that case, you can say that. Now what I'm saying is, to the Pega, I'm saying that okay, I want to look this page list, and then and after that I want to check the condition if the loan type is equals to home loan, and if it's a home loan, then I want to copy that data, and then I want to exit for each. I want to come out of the loops. I don't care about other whether they're in this page list there are other home loan is there or not. That I don't worry. Find the first one, copy it, and that's it. My job is done because I want only one record. That's it. Okay, so that is that in that case, basically, like this action, like exit for each will will be there. Will do that for you. So is it clear? Or any confusion here? Okay. So I'll take it as a no. Okay. And then okay, so now the final one is that simplest one is that exit activity. So like the yesterday I've told you, right, apply data transform means if you want to call any other data transform you can do this, but if you want to exit data transform means like for example I'll just delete this, and now I'll place one record at sibling above, and then I'm just checking when condition here. So I'm saying that when like let's say for example the user has taken any loan. Uh, okay, so now I want that okay, any past loan. I want to copy data only when this is equals to true. When the user has taken a loan, then only I want to perform these actions, or like whatever that we have, right? So now I'll